If you clicked on this video, chances are you're not the one with a hearing loss. You're probably the one repeating yourself and getting frustrated. You may also be the one watching someone you love slowly pull away from conversations and refuse to admit anything's actually wrong. And maybe you've already tried saying things like, you can't hear, you need hearing aids, we need to get your hearing checked. And every time you bring it up, it either causes them to clam up or it turns into an argument. If this sounds familiar, stay with me because I'm going to show you how to help a loved one recognize hearing loss and take action without shame or pressure and without damaging your relationship. Hi, I'm Matt Murphy, a retired audiologist with over 20 years in private practice as an owner, and my channel is called Sound Solutions. I'm not here to sell you hearing aids. I'm here to help you hear better, whether you're the one struggling or you're watching someone else struggle. And what I'm about to share comes from my 20 years of private practice experience and thousands of difficult family conversations I've personally witnessed. So let's talk about what actually works. First, you need to understand something very important. Most people with hearing loss generally do not realize how bad it is. Hearing loss is slow, it comes on gradual. I always told people what's normal is what you're used to, and believe it or not, people get used to not hearing. The brain can fill in missing words, the context of the conversation can fill in the gaps, and people adapt without knowing they're adapting. So when you tell a loved one you're not hearing, what they hear is you're old, you're broken, you're embarrassing, you're not competent anymore. That's why denial is so strong. In fact, research shows the average person waits 5 to 7 years from the moment they notice hearing problems to the moment they do something about it. And in that time, usually the relationship is what suffers. Not because of the hearing loss, but because of the miscommunication around it. Okay, so let me start with what not to do, because this is where I've seen most families go wrong. Don't try to diagnose them, don't label them, don't joke about it, and don't gang up on them. And don't say, you need hearing aids, even if it's true. So why don't you want to do these things? Well, because hearing aids are not neutral. To many people, they have a stigma and represent things like aging, loss of independence, decline, vulnerability. The moment hearing aids enter the conversation too early, defensiveness shuts everything down. I've watched spouses undo years of progression in one sentence. So instead of pushing solutions, you need to guide awareness. Your goal is not to convince them that they need hearing aids. Your goal is to help them notice the impact of the hearing loss on their own lives and on their own terms. Awareness always comes before acceptance, and acceptance always comes before action. So let me walk you through a few step-by-step approaches that typically work. Instead of talking about hearing, talk about moments. Use phrases like, I notice you seem exhausted after family gathering and you're not really engaged in the conversation. Or I miss talking with you in restaurants. You don't seem to want to go out anymore. I feel like our conversations end in arguments more often, or even sometimes I feel disconnected and we don't communicate as well as we used to. This removes the blame and hopefully gets them talking about the real problem. You're not saying they have a problem, you're saying that you have noticed something has changed. If they do start to open up about their hearing, one of the most powerful things you can say is, I don't think this is really about volume, I think it's more about clarity. That single sentence has opened more doors in my office than almost anything else, and it makes them feel like it's something smaller and something they can deal with. It can really open up the conversation and hopefully lead to their first hearing test. Don't be the bad guy. Let reality do the work. Encourage situations that reveal hearing challenges naturally. Restaurants, group conversations, family gatherings, watching TV with subtitles. When something is missed, don't correct them loudly and say, see, I told you. Instead, say something like, that happens to me too. It's harder when there's background noise. That room is tough for everyone. This allows them to notice patterns without feeling attacked. And self-realization is very powerful. Here's the key insight most families miss. People resist hearing aids, not hearing help. So shift the language. Instead of, you need hearing aids, say something like, would you be open to checking how your hearing is doing? Or it might be helpful to get a baseline test. Or even, let's just rule things out. Frame it like it's a vision exam or a blood pressure check, dental visit. This removes the finality. A hearing test is not a life sentence. It's information, and everyone should have a baseline hearing test. Ask questions like, what situations frustrate you the most? What places do we go to that you wish were easier to hear? What places and situations have you been avoiding lately? As the family member trying to help, you should know some of the situations that could be difficult. So help them talk through, like grandkids, work, social life, church. I've never met someone who really wanted hearing aids, and we joked in my practice that we supplied a product that no one wants. But I've met thousands of people who wanted less effort, less fatigue, less frustration, and more connection. And that's the bridge. Although money is a large factor, when you dig really deep, most resistance isn't truly about money. It's really about fear. Fear that they won't work, fear that they'll be noticeable, fear that they'll be overwhelmed with them, or fear of being pressured into buying something they don't want. You can help by saying, hey, you're in control. You don't have to buy anything. This is just information. Remind them that hearing technology has changed, options exist, and nothing is permanent. The goal is curiosity and not commitment. In my practice, we would often do demos with hearing devices. After the test, we'd program the aids and talk with them. Sometimes we even let them take them home for a week. Even the people who were not quite ready for one reason or another and brought back the demos later, they came in later because they were better educated and felt more in control. So let me leave you with this. Hearing loss is invisible, but its impact on relationships is not. Most people don't resist because they're stubborn. They resist because they're scared. And the most powerful thing that you can offer isn't pressure. It's patience, empathy, and partnership. You're not trying to fix them. You're trying to walk with them. And that makes all the difference. If this helped you, give it a like. It really helps more families find this conversation. And if you want more practical guidance like this, subscribe to Sound Solutions, because better hearing isn't just about ears. It's about connection.